Ethan Walker had rehearsed this moment 100 times, straightening his collar in the mirror, calming his trembling hands, reminding himself that he deserved happiness too. But as he pushed open the glass door of the small Italian restaurant and stepped into the warm amber lights, all those practiced breaths dissolved into a nervous flutter. It had been 3 years since he'd tried dating again. 3 years since life had cracked open beneath his feet and forced him to rebuild everything from scratch. But tonight he was trying. For himself. For his son. For the first time in a long time, he was willing to believe that something good might still be waiting for him. He spotted her before she saw him, a woman sitting near the window, wearing a soft gray sweater and an even softer expression. Her posture was elegant, her hands folded neatly on the table, but there was something else too. Something that made Ethan pause mid-step. A small wheelchair next to her. And a little girl in it. Maybe 8. Quiet, gentle, her tiny fingers tapping slowly on the table as though she were listening to music only she could hear. Ethan swallowed hard. His heart stumbled. Then he whispered under his breath, "No. This can't be right." He'd been told it was a blind date. Just one harmless dinner with someone a friend of a friend believed he'd click with. But no one had prepared him for this, for the unexpected presence of a child, let alone a child in a wheelchair. And suddenly, the old fear rushed in. What if he wasn't ready? What if he couldn't handle someone else's pain while still trying to heal from his own? He took another slow breath and walked toward them. The woman looked up, her eyes widened, shimmering with something between relief and warmth. She stood gently, smoothing her sweater. "Ethan?" she asked. "Yeah," he said, trying to smile. "Hi, you must be Claire." But then, without warning, the heavy question slipped out of him, raw, unfiltered, shaped by fear rather than intention. "Why did you bring your paralyzed kid here?" Silence hit the table like a sudden winter wind. The little girl's fingers stopped tapping. Claire blinked slowly, not offended, just observing him. As if she were studying the question behind the question. As if she understood the place from where the words had escaped. Then, to Ethan's surprise, she smiled. A calm, steady, confident smile. "She's not mine," Claire said softly. "She's my sister." Ethan froze. "And I brought her," Claire continued in that same warm voice, "because I never hide the people I love. If someone wants to know me, they should know her too." He felt the air shift, some invisible weight loosening inside his chest. "I'm sorry," Ethan whispered. "I didn't mean to sound rude. I just wasn't expecting." "A child," Claire finished, her smile growing slightly playful. "A responsibility," Ethan corrected. "I barely manage my own." Claire tilted her head, studying him again. Not judging, just seeing him. "Sit," she said gently. "We'll talk." He sat. The little girl, Lily, stared at him with curious eyes. They were warm brown, almost honey-colored, and though her legs were still, her spirit wasn't. She had a small sketchbook balanced on her lap. Without a word, she began to draw. The waitress arrived. Water glasses were placed. Menus handed out. Ethan's heartbeat slowed. "Tell me something," Claire said, resting her chin on her hand. "Why did you agree to a blind date?" That question, simple yet disarming, made him laugh quietly. "Because," he admitted, "I'm a single dad. And the last few years have been heavy. My son Noah is everything to me, and I spend most days working, cooking, cleaning, fighting insurance companies, trying to make life work. I guess, a friend. Thought I needed a night to breathe." Claire nodded. And he was right. Ethan chuckled again, but softer, almost shy. "What about you? Why are you here?" She shrugged lightly. "Because I spend every day running a company, making decisions, solving fires, and pretending I'm steel. But I'm not. I'm human. I get lonely too." "Running a company," Ethan repeated. "What kind of company?" "A tech corporation," she said casually. "Walker Dynamics." Ethan nearly choked on his water. "You're the CEO of Walker Dynamics." Claire blinked. "That reaction is familiar. You're practically famous," he said. "Most people in Seattle know your name." "You're just a woman," she said with a playful smirk, trying to enjoy gnocchi on a Friday night. He couldn't help it. He laughed fully now. And somehow, the tension dissolved between them, replaced by something easy. Something real. As the food arrived, Lily quietly slid a small paper across the table toward Ethan. It was a simple sketch, 3 stick figures sitting at a table. One tall, one medium, one small in a wheelchair. Above them, Lily had drawn a sun with an enormous smile. Ethan stared. The child wasn't just drawing the room. She was drawing togetherness. Maybe even hope. "That's beautiful," Ethan murmured. Lily glanced up and gave the tiniest smile. Claire leaned closer. She's shy, but she draws everything she feels. I think she likes you. Ethan swallowed. The last time a child had smiled at him with that much trust, had been Noah. He cleared his throat. Can I ask what happened to her legs? Spinal muscular atrophy, Claire said gently. Our parents died in a car crash 3 years ago, so she lives with me now. 3 years. The same number of years since Ethan's ex-wife left, abandoning both him and their 3-year-old son because motherhood wasn't her thing. 2 strangers, 2 wounds, 2 lives changed at the same time. The universe suddenly felt smaller. When she's comfortable, Claire added, Lily talks with her drawing. She opens up slowly, but when she does, you'll see how bright she is. Ethan glanced again at the drawing. The sun, the trio, the smile. He felt something warm gather in his chest. Something he hadn't felt in a long, long time. Connection. The evening unfolded like a gentle tide. They talked about everything, parenting, responsibility, dreams they'd buried, dreams they still wanted to chase. They laughed about little things, shared quiet truths about big things. And little Lily drew as though the world inside her was made of colors no one else could see. At one point, when Claire excused herself to take a quick phone call, Lily tugged Ethan's sleeve. He leaned closer. She pointed to a different drawing in her sketchbook. This one stopped his breath. It was a child in a hospital bed, smiling weakly, holding hands with a shadowed figure sitting beside them. And underneath the drawing, in tiny shaky letters, Lily had written, "Don't leave." Ethan felt his heart squeeze painfully. You were scared someone would leave you, he whispered. Lily blinked. A tear escaped her eye, just one, small but heavy. Without thinking, Ethan reached across the table and gently wiped it with his thumb. I'm not leaving, he whispered. She looked at him again, longer this time, as if searching. Then she nodded once and went back to drawing. When Claire returned, she noticed the soft glow in her sister's face. She talked to you? Claire asked quietly. Not with words, Ethan answered, but, yes. Claire smiled, slow, knowing, grateful. That means she trusts you. Dinner ended, but none of them wanted to leave yet. They lingered outside in the cool night air. Street lamps glowed softly, casting halos around passing cars. Lily held Ethan's hand, as though it were the most natural thing. Can I ask something? Claire said gently. Anything. When you asked that question earlier, why did you bring your paralyzed kid here? What were you really afraid of? Ethan sighed. The truth was heavy, vulnerable, but tonight had been honest from the start. I was afraid I wasn't good enough. I already struggle raising my son alone. I barely have money. I barely have time. And when I saw Lily, I thought you'd need someone stronger. Someone more capable. Claire stepped closer, close enough for him to feel her warmth. Ethan, she whispered, strength isn't measured by money or perfection. It's measured by how you show up. And you showed up. For me, for Lily, even for your fears. He felt something inside him shift, something like a door slowly opening. And for what it's worth, she added, I didn't bring Lily because I needed help. I brought her because I hoped someone would see her the way I do. How do you see her? He asked. Claire smiled softly. As a gift. Lily, still holding Ethan's hand, squeezed gently. And maybe it was the city lights, or the soft breeze, or the way the world suddenly felt safe again. But Ethan whispered, she is a gift. A long pause settled between them. Not awkward, not heavy, just meaningful. Claire's voice softened. Do you want to meet her again? Both of us. Ethan didn't hesitate. Yes, I'd like that very much. Weeks passed. Blind date turned into dinner at Ethan's tiny apartment where Claire knelt on the kitchen floor teaching Noah how to mix pasta sauce. It turned into Saturdays at the park where Lily sketched Noah feeding pigeons while Ethan and Claire laughed over spilled coffee and Lily's dramatic eye rolls. It turned into Claire showing Ethan how to use a parenting routine app her company had built but never released. Into Ethan showing Claire how to let herself be human, not a CEO carrying the world on her shoulders. It turned into healing. One evening, months later, Ethan found Claire sitting on the couch, Lily asleep against her shoulder. The living room was dim, lit only by the soft glow of a table lamp. Claire looked tired, but peaceful. You okay? Ethan whispered. She nodded. I was thinking, you once asked why I brought her to our date. Yeah, I realized something today, she said softly. I brought her because I needed someone who wouldn't walk away from responsibility. Someone who understood that love doesn't come perfect, it comes as life brings it. And did you find that? Ethan asked quietly. Claire looked up at him. Her eyes shone. I found you. Ethan felt tears burn at the corners of his eyes. The gentle, overwhelming kind. The kind that comes when a heart finally stops running. He knelt beside her, brushing a loose strand of hair from her face. And I found you, he whispered. Lily stirred slightly and reached her small hand out, half asleep, half instinct, resting it on both of theirs. A tiny bridge between two broken worlds now healed. In that moment, Ethan understood something profound. Family isn't always blood, love isn't always easy, but sometimes, kindness, simple, everyday kindness, can sew together people who never expected to be whole again. And sometimes, the person you think you aren't ready for, becomes the person you were meant to meet. The night felt warm, safe, full, and for the first time in years, Ethan believed, deep in his bones, that life can surprise you with goodness even after storms. He kissed Claire's forehead gently. Thank you, he whispered. For what? She murmured. For smiling, he said. When I asked a terrible question. She laughed softly. You were scared. I was, he admitted. But I'm not anymore. Claire reached for his hand. Good, because this, us, Lily and Noah, it's worth being brave for. Ethan nodded. He believed her, completely. And as the night wrapped around them like a quiet promise, Ethan whispered the words he'd once been afraid to even hope for. We're a family now. Claire smiled. Lily smiled in her sleep. Noah snored from the other room. And Ethan Walker knew, without a single doubt, that he had walked into that restaurant looking for air. But walked out with a home.